Okay, everybody, thank you so much for coming back to Achieve Your Dream Summit. I got another great interview. You're going to love this guy. Look at that smile. Just look at that smile. Yeah, good stuff comes out of that mouth. His name is Erik K. Johnson. I'm going to read just a little bit about this guy so that you will be as intrigued as I am with what he's going to say. Here we go. There are many podcasts and coaches who teach you the technical side of podcasting. Erik K. Johnson is the premier coach focused on the art of podcasting with Podcast Talent Coach. He has been atop the radio rating since 2000 and coached many others to even greater success. Erik is a nationally recognized podcast and radio talent coach, on-air personality, and radio program director, seen on stage at Podcast Movement, New Media Expo, Authority and Influencer Summit, and more. Now, I'm going to turn this over to Erik by asking you, sir, the first question that I try to ask everybody, and that is, Erik K. Johnson, what were you born to do?
Rick, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Looking forward to our conversation today. What was I born to do? I think I was born to coach. And I know that sounds fairly generic, and it took me a long time to learn that because, like most of us, I was born an introvert. I didn't want to get up in front of everybody. But the more I learned, the more I realized that I could be behind the scenes, helping people be on stage or be in front or succeed to their greatest ability and helping them do that. I don't need to be on stage to take all of those accolades. I love being behind the scenes and getting people to succeed. And I didn't really know that was the case. I actually started coaching in high school. I was coaching youth bowlers. I grew up bowling. I started bowling when I was 5, like probably even younger than that. I was so young when I started bowling that they didn't even have bowling shoes that fit me. And but I loved bowling. My dad would take me bowling, my brother and I. And when I was 12, I started bowling competitively. By the time I was a freshman in high school, my dad and I won a national doubles tournament. And in Washington, D.C., we won at our house level. We won at the city level. We won at the district level. We won at the regional level. We won at the state level. We went to D.C. and ended up winning all of it there, and got me a scholarship to bowl at the University of Nebraska. Okay. And so in high school, after I'd won that tournament, I started coaching kids and teaching them how to bowl because I really loved to help people succeed. So I got into college and started getting my degree in architecture because I really loved to draw. What I didn't like about architecture school was I had to get up in front of everybody and present my designs to my peers. And that was not enjoyable for me at all. I hated speech class. I didn't like it in high school. I didn't like it in college. And so all of a sudden architecture starts going computerized, computer-aided drafting, and it really started losing the romance for what I had discovered. My brother at the time worked at a radio station and said, hey, we need some part-time help at the radio station. Are you interested? And I thought, well, yeah, I'm a broke college kid. I can use a few extra dollars. So I took the job running the board at the radio station. And I thought, this is pretty cool. Like, I don't have to be in front of anybody, but I can entertain everybody. There's very few jobs where you can sit in a room by yourself, talk to people that you can't see and hope that you're entertaining. But radio is one of those jobs. And so I finished my architecture degree and I stayed in radio and made a career out of it for 30 years. And a lot of people say radio and architecture, like, how do those even are related? But actually they're quite related. I am very right-brained and left-brained. I'm very creative and analytical at the same time. And to succeed at architecture, you have to be creative and analytical at the same time. You're given a set of parameters and you have to design within those parameters. On the radio, it's the same way. You have to be creative and analytical at the same time. You're given a set of parameters on the radio and you have to be creative within those parameters. And now as I moved into podcasting, it's the same thing. You have to be creative within that set of parameters. So my coaching started coming back around while I was programming radio stations, I started learning all I could. I read everything I could. I attended seminars. I attended conferences. I followed different radio coaches and consultants and learned all of their strategies. And I took all of them and I aggregated them into my process of coaching. And I was using that to coach on-air radio talent. And I've coached multiple number one radio stations, and it's been a lot of fun. I've signed on radio stations, took them to number one. I've taken heritage radio stations to number one. My own show has been number one. So when I got into podcasting, I started falling in love with podcasting. And I thought, man, if the podcasters just knew a little bit of the tips and tricks we use in radio to create compelling content, their shows could be so much better, so much stronger. And so I started coaching podcasters. And some of my clients have been named one of the top podcasts on Apple Podcasts in all of Australia. He's from Australia, so he got on those charts. I've had others that have been recognized by national governmental organizations as key conduits for the content of those organizations. And it's just been phenomenal. And I get a really big sense of accomplishment when the podcasters I coach and the clients that I help achieve that kind of success. That really means a lot to me. And now I also coach high school hockey. I've coached lacrosse. I coach a college hockey team. I've coached baseball. I didn't even know how to play lacrosse. Never played lacrosse in my life. They said, we need a coach. You coach. Can you coach lacrosse? I said, sure, I'll figure it out. Like, let's do this.
Wow.
And so I became a lacrosse coach because I just love teaching people how to be the best version of themselves.
We have that in common. We definitely have that in common.
I love it. There's nothing like seeing one of your clients or your students succeed and knowing that you help them see what's possible.
Yeah. Now, my second question, and you have pretty much answered this, but if you want to throw in something extra, is how did you get there? You know, what were you born to do, and how did you get there?
How I got there was just stumbling my way through it. You know, I wanted to own a radio station, right? I love entrepreneurism. I really wanted to own my own business. And I've thought about everything. I've been an entrepreneur since I can remember. I was in 6th grade. I went to a white elephant sale and bought 2 cases of gum and sold it out of my locker at school. You know, it's like I bought the 2 cases of gum for like $5 and I'm selling them for 50 cents a pack out of my locker and making all kinds of money. Like, I just love entrepreneurism. So I wanted to own a radio station. And as soon as I got into radio, consolidation started happening and all of the big companies started eating up all of the radio stations, and all the mom and pop owners started going out of business. And I realized quickly that ownership of the radio station wasn't really going to be possible anymore. But I still had a message to share. I still wanted to help people. I still wanted to coach people and help them see success. And when I discovered podcasting and I realized that I don't need a radio station to share my message, here's the opportunity I have to go spread my message and share it and help as many people as I possibly can. There are so many podcasts and YouTube videos out there that will teach you how to launch a podcast. Launching your podcast isn't the difficult part. You can do that in about 30 days. You sit down and do the work. It's not that difficult. The problem is you get a podcast up and running, you go, okay, now what? Now what do I do with it? And then Rick, the studies show that a lot of podcasts go away around 7 or 8 episodes. They just stop publishing.
That's sad.
And when you dig into it, you realize that people didn't realize how hard it was going to be. They ran out of stuff to talk about because it wasn't really truly their passion. Their audience isn't growing as fast as they thought it would. They really don't have a strategy to go to the next level, because getting it launched, you have to do A, B, and C. Your podcast is launched. And then you go, okay, now what? Now what do I do? And that's where I come in. I said, if I can take people from the launch point to the success point, now we're growing an audience and we're monetizing our show and driving our business, That's what I want to do. So now all of a sudden I've paired my passion for entrepreneurism with my passion for radio and creativity, and I brought it together in podcasting, and I help people achieve their goals, and that's really kind of how it all came together. Now it sounds all succinct here. I tell you that in about 90 seconds, but it's taken me 3 decades in radio and the last 10 years in podcasting to get to that point. When I started coaching in podcasting, I just wanted to help all podcasters. If you got a podcast, I can help you. Like, let's do this.
Sure.
But the more I worked with podcasters, the more that I realized that the people that I can help the most with what I do are coaches and information experts, people who have a message to share. They have some information that they want to get out to the world, and they need people to understand who they are. They need to build their influence and their authority in their niche. And a podcast is a phenomenal way to do that. Those are the people that I help the most. Now, if you have a hobby podcast, that doesn't mean I can't help you too. A lot of my stuff helps hobbyists as well. But I mean, when I'm working with you one-on-one, or you're in one of my programs, we're trying to build a revenue engine for your podcast. A lot of people want to build an audience, and all of a sudden they want to, I want to get my audience big enough so I can sell some sponsors. And I said, why would you ever want to do that? Like, people are leaving traditional media in droves because they don't want to sit through all of those commercials. Like, they're leaving radio and going to podcasts to get away from the commercials. Why would you want to go clutter up your show with a whole bunch of commercials? People don't want that. Like, stop doing that. Instead, use your podcast to promote your business or your affiliates or whatever it is that your revenue engine that we build. Promote that. Don't go sell it $50 a holler to some sponsor. Like, there's a limit to the number of commercials you could put on your show. People don't want commercials to begin with, and it's turning your show into a commodity. But it took me a long time to learn that. Like, it took me 10 years to develop that process to get where I am now. So what I try and do is I try and help podcasters shortcut and not have to go through all of that pain and agony I went through trying to develop the thing.
Well, you have answered my next question. How does your business?
I'm always a step ahead of you, Rick. What
you
in the
really
world's
are.
going
You
on
really
here?
are. Yeah. I mean, I can't get lacrosse coaching out of my head right
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
The next,
So while I'm coaching lacrosse, right, the referee would make some hand signal, right? And so when the whistle would blow, I go out on the field and I go, hey ref, what does that mean? When you do this, what does that mean? Or when you're doing that, what does that mean? And he's like, oh, and he's explaining the rules to me as I'm going. He's thinking, this guy's coaching the team. What's going on here? Like, oh, that was a learning process, but it was a lot of fun. And we finished second in the state. So how great is that? First time I ever coached a team, we finished second in the state. It was awesome.
unreal. We need to preserve you somehow, and then like 30, 40 years from now, just bring you back and clone you.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
You can go off and do all of these things.
Yes.
For all these people.
So many other things I'd love to coach. That'd be awesome. So how does my business, what was the question with regard to
how does your business fit into your dream? You have given us a lot on that already.
Yes. Yeah. So I love to be involved. Well, as you can tell by my background, I love to be involved in various things. Like, if I'm just doing one thing, I'm getting bored quickly. So that's why I coach 2 hockey teams. My son plays for a third that I follow. I'm a public address announcer for a 4th team. I coach podcasters. I'm on the radio. Like, I love doing a million things. And so my business, I try and create a variety of things, because I'm a big believer that one size does not necessarily fit all. And so I have a variety of ways I coach people. First and foremost is my podcast. So I create my podcast each and every week. It's at podcasttalentcoach.com. And a lot of people think an interview podcast is the only sort of podcast you do. My podcast tends to mostly be just me talking to you, because I like to talk. And so it's me teaching you some aspect of podcasting. I have 365 episodes published, and I would say 340 of them at least are just me. I didn't have anybody else except me on my podcast until episode 200, when I brought some friends on to kind of ask them some questions about podcasting. And then I didn't really start doing interviews until about 280. And now I just do an interview every now and then. It's not even a regular thing. It's mostly just me sharing my information and coaching you to be a better podcaster, whether that's a better interviewer or a better storyteller, or how do we grow your audience, or how do we make money with the show, or how do we build a show clock, and all of the variety of things that come with it. So I love teaching there, but what that lacks is that one-on-one connection that I have sitting toe to toe with somebody and really diving deep into their podcast and figuring out how we can help them reach their goals. So I have a one-on-one coaching program where I dive deep into your podcast and we define some goals, and then I help you reach those goals. But now what I realized with that end of the spectrum is that I only have so many hours in a day. So I can only handle so many one-on-one clients, and my podcast itself isn't diving deep on your show. So I've created some opportunities in the middle for some group coaching programs. I do a monthly podcast profits boot camp where I just get a group of people together for an entire day. And I teach them how to monetize their show or grow their audience or whatever the topic is for that month. It's a fantastic way to just get in and get some work done. It's not a webinar, it's a boot camp. Like, we're actually rolling up our sleeves and we're walking through the process through the entire day. And I have some group coaching programs and things like that where I love helping people. And I know a lot of people love a group setting and a lot of people love one-on-one setting. So I don't want to use a one size fits all and try and shove people into a square hole if they're a round peg.
Yeah, that's so smart. Wow. I'm just on overload right now that you have actually done all of these things and are doing all of these things. So,
and I'm always trying something new, like the boot camps thing. I just started at the tail end of 2021, right around Thanksgiving. I launched my first boot camp, and really, leading up to it, you're thinking, man, it's a full day. This is going to be exhausting. But once you get in there and the electricity that comes from all of the other people in the group and sharing ideas, I really feed off of that. And it's been phenomenal doing that. I just love being around. If I'm sitting on the couch watching TV doing nothing, I feel like there's impact going to waste. Like, I could be helping somebody. I could be doing something. I could be having a conversation with somebody right now, helping them reach their goals.
Yeah. You really are a teacher. You really are.
Love it.
But
love it.
The thing that separates you from a lot of teachers is that you offer leadership in that teaching. That boot camp is you're absolutely the leader. I mean, people are going to be sitting there or dancing around the room when you've got your boot camp going, because they're really learning stuff. Because I haven't heard any fluff today.
Well, Rick, there's a big difference. What a lot of people don't understand is there is a big difference between a coach and a consultant. Like, a consultant comes in and tells you, here's what you need to do, ABC. Like, you follow my plan. You have to fit into, this is what I do. Right. Yeah. It's I come in and I look at your situation, and then I put my plan on your situation and you follow my plan. Mm-hmm. Where a coach comes in and looks at your strengths and your weaknesses and then figures out how to play to your strengths. Like, if you think of a coach of a baseball team, right? Mm-hmm. He's probably got 7, 8, 10 pitchers, and they all have a little something different, right? Yes. So I'm going to use this guy as my starter. I'm going to use this guy as my relief guy. I'm going to use that guy as my closer, because they all have different strengths, right? This guy can throw 100 miles an hour, but he's only good for about 6 batters. So I need to use him as my closer. But this guy here can go a long way. He doesn't quite have the arm strength, but he's got the endurance, and he can give me 5 or 6 innings. So I'm going to use him to start, right? That's what a coach does. It comes in and he looks at your strengths and where you really succeed. Now let's play up to that. And that's what I do as a podcast coach. I listen to your show and I say, okay, here's what we're doing really well. Here's what needs some work. Let's do more of the stuff you're doing well, so it kind of takes over the stuff that needs work.
I can see and hear you looking for those spots where somebody can really improve, blind spots, or in my case of 35 years of counseling and coaching, it's people don't look at their strength as being a strength. They think, oh, well, that's easy.
Right. Everybody knows that.
I can throw a split finger fastball. Sure, it's at 98 miles per hour, no big deal. Yes, it is a big deal. Yeah,
because you forget what you didn't know before you learn that thing. And so now that you've learned it, you suffer from the curse of knowledge, and you think everybody knows it. Mm-hmm. And you have to. I can't tell you how many times on a coaching call people say, "Oh, I never thought of that. That never occurred to me."
Yes,
and because I help them find the things that might be in their blind spot, or they never. When I talk to people, one of the big things I help people with is talk to one single person on your podcast. Have a conversation with an individual, because everybody says, "Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. I appreciate all of you being here. You guys need to go over to my website." I'm like, "You guys, who are you talking to?" Somebody's listening to your show with earbuds, right? You're having a one-on-one conversation with that person. If you want them to take action and go to your website or download your lead magnet or whatever, you need to talk to that single individual. You need to say, "Hey, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here. You know what? If you really want help growing your podcast, you need to go grab my resource over at my website. I think it's going to help you tremendously as you record your show this week." Talk to one person rather than talking to everybody, because everybody, it's like, I'm here by myself. Who are you talking to? And you don't make that connection. And when I tell people that, they go, "Oh yeah, I never thought of it that way."
Wow. Speaking of resources, segue. I know that you have some gifts for our viewers. I know that you got a really good freebie.
Yes.
And if I recall, you also have an upgrade for our people who do the VIP upgrade and can then access your training anytime they want to.
Yes. So for the freebie, if you don't yet have a podcast, this is perfect for you. It's my podcast launch mini course. It'll teach you how to launch your podcast in 30 days. And it's really not that difficult. It's a checklist. You just walk through the checklist, and I've accompanied with it a video. So many times you get a free checklist and you look at it and you go, "What does he mean by that?" So I put a video with it that walks you through it. So it's a little mini course for you. It's a $97 mini course. You get it for free. And you can get that at podcasttalentcoach.com/launch. You go there.
We'll have that up on your.
That's perfect. It's super easy to get. That'll help you launch your podcast. You just follow it. It's color by number, and it's super easy to get your show up and running in 30 days. So if you don't have a podcast, they're perfect for you. Let's say you have a podcast, but you can't figure out how to drive your business with it. Or maybe you haven't figured out what that revenue engine is, or you have a podcast, but the audience isn't growing. Then my podcast profits bootcamp for you is perfect. I do it each month. And that would be perfect for you to get in, because we deep dive. This isn't a webinar. Okay. You're not going to go there for an hour and get a whole bunch of fluff and then, get a pitch, and it's like, well, you promised me, but you didn't teach me anything. That's not what the boot camp is. The boot camp is a 7-hour full day deep dive into building a strategy. And I build the strategy with you. We're working together. We're collaborating together. We're sharing our ideas. I'm giving you time to work. I'm evaluating what you create. It's a $997 all day event. But because you're here with Rick today, you can get in for just $97.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. $97. But you got to use a promo code, and you got to be VIP. All right. So that's the little hook there. Not everybody's getting in. You got to go VIP here today. And when you do, you'll get the coupon code, and you'll have to, because if you just go over to the bootcamp page, if you go to podcasttalentcoach.com/bootcamp, you'll see it's $997. Like, you're going to go, "Wait a minute, Erik just told me it was 97. What's the deal?" Because you didn't get the VIP coupon code that's over on the VIP page. Okay. So go VIP, take that coupon code, head over to podcasttalentcoach.com/bootcamp, and you'll save a ton of money.
Since you're my new best friend, can I get in on that too?
Absolutely, you can.
Okay, well,
yes, it's and we have a lot of fun.
I will be showing up.
It's
Smiling.
such a great time so if you have a podcast, the boot camp's perfect for you. If you don't have a podcast, get the launch. Let's get your show up and running and then get you over into a boot camp.
Well, I don't have a podcast yet, but I've been told I should. So
Yeah,
maybe,
absolutely.
maybe now when
All
I
the
go
cool
through,
kids are
when I
doing
go
it.
through your boot camp and all that, will I learn how to throw a fastball? Will I learn how to
No, we're
bowl a
not teaching that
strike?
today.
Will I
I can
learn how to
probably teach you that.
get a puck by the goalie? Will I learn
Yeah,
all of that stuff?
I can kind of teach you how to catch a ball in a lacrosse, a cross. So it's not called a stick; it's called a cross when you play lacrosse, because that's
Okay.
what lacrosse means. And those balls hurt when they hit you. I found that out. I took one in the rib cage. That's not fun.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Those hurt more than a puck does.
Yeah. So when you pick that up, you have your cross to bear.
Yeah.
I just had to. I couldn't.
I had to.
It's
No,
a dad joke,
I set you up. All right. There it
you
is.
did,
There
you
it is.
did. All righty. Well,
Absolutely.
let me you are so doggone informative. I do want you to expand on this a little bit. This is one of my favorites because my whole deal with Achieve Your Dream and this summit is to help people get to where they need to go, be who they need to be, and especially do what they were born to do, and to have an action plan to make that happen. But it's all about fixing things. When people ask me, what do you do, Rick? I fix people. And it sounds like you do too. It's like, well, I can teach you how to do that. And then you become a coach.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You're an amazing person. But what I'd like to ask you right now is, when it comes to living your best life, what advice do you have for our viewers, for our audience? Erik K. Johnson, when it comes to living your best life, what's your advice?
My advice is simple, and that is have fun. If you're not having fun doing it, there's no sense in doing it. And I've believed that since the day I started working. So many people I would work with would be, maybe they're scared of losing their job, or maybe they're working a job they don't enjoy. And I would ask them, why are you here? Like, why don't you go somewhere that you enjoy? Why do you continue to come back here day after day and do your job if you hate it? Go find something you love to do. Life is too short. Find the work that you love, be around people that you love, have fun. Everything. I love to coach. I have a lot of fun coaching. I love coaching hockey. I love coaching podcasters. I love coaching broadcasters. I have fun doing it. But I got to tell you, Rick, the day that I stop having fun is the day I stop doing it, and I go find something else to do. I stopped following my dream to become an architect because it wasn't fun anymore. And I went to get into radio. And when the day-to-day radio became less fun, I went to start coaching podcasters. I do it because I have fun. Every episode of my podcast ends with 3 words of encouragement for my audience. I tell them, always tell the truth, always make it matter, and always have fun. Because if we're not doing those 3 things, we're doing our listeners a disservice, and we're doing ourselves a disservice. You gotta have fun. Everything you do.
Have fun and make it matter.
Make it matter. Right. Because if it doesn't matter, if you're not making your audience care, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
And if you're not telling the truth, you're doing your audience a disservice. But if you're not having fun, what's the point? A lot of people say, should I start a podcast? And I say, it depends. I'm a huge proponent of podcasts. I love podcasting. Do I think everybody needs a podcast? Absolutely not. Because if it's not something you love, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate having to go in every week to record your show or batch your show. You're going to hate having to set up the interviews if that's what you're doing. You're going to hate getting in front of the microphone. And that's no way to live. Go do some. People say, should I be on Facebook? Should I be doing Facebook Live? Should I be doing YouTube? And I go, it depends. Like if you don't like being on social media, don't be on social media.
Yeah.
Do what you love to do. Have fun doing it. Now, all of life can't be roses, right? We can't have, the lawn has to be mowed, right? So somebody's got to mow it. If it snows, the driveway's got to get shoveled, right? Maybe I don't love shoveling, but it's got to get done.
Yeah.
But it's not a job that I'm going to every single day and I'm not loving it. If you don't love your job, find something new. And people say, well, I love hockey, right? How can I ever make a living? I can't make a living playing hockey. No, but you can make a living coaching hockey. You can make a living talking about hockey. You could create a podcast about hockey. You can create a course about hockey. You could create a hockey membership. You could open a hockey store and sell equipment. You could be a general manager of an ice rink. You could, you could go be a referee. You could go be a trainer. There's a million things you could do, but find something that you love and that you have fun doing. Because if it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
Well, I'm going to put in a shameless plug here that what you're doing is you're talking to people who need to figure out what they were born to do and not think that just because they're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, that they can't do that. They've been spending their life getting a good job that has good benefits so that they can cover their health insurance and all of that stuff, and they're miserable. And those are the people that I've worked with. But it's sometimes, this, Erik, it's pulling teeth to get people to understand that there's more. And pulling that, all the things you just suggested about hockey, that's brilliant. That's amazing. People need to listen to that. And I just know from 35 years of experience that people don't buy it. They think, well, that sounds good. And then a closer I use is, does that make sense to you? Most of the time, no.
Right.
I can't see that.
Well, few things feel worse than climbing that corporate ladder for years and years and years, only to realize that your ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. And now you've like, I've come up so many rungs. I've invested so much time. It's been, I can't change now. And I always say, well, if you don't change now, when? Like you still have plenty of years ahead of you. Why do you want to continue to go through this pain and agony of doing the same thing that you don't enjoy when you can just go invest the time now? Imagine where you could be 5 years from now if you just go do what you love starting today. I don't care if you're 29 or 69. Like, let's do it.
I'm at the upper end there.
Yeah, I'm a little closer to 69 as well myself. But there's plenty of time left to go find something you enjoy. Like, let's do it.
Wow. That is so good. Okay, guys. The freebie stuff going to help you. But I'm telling you, the freebie is going to get you all excited. You're going to salivate. You're going to lose sleep. You're going to wake up in the middle of the night going, I wonder if I could do that. Could I really, really, really do that? I need to contact this guy. And that's what you need to do. That's why you need the VIP upgrade, so that $97. You really said that, didn't you? Did you mean to say
absolutely.
that? $97 for a $997 course? Okay.
Look, and Rick, I don't just say this for your particular summit. When I started attending summits, I always was a little skeptical about VIP. And somebody told me, look, you always go VIP. And I was like, sure. Easy for you to say. And then I realized you always go VIP. Like, there's so much behind the curtain when you go VIP that you don't realize that now every time I'm at a summit, it's VIP, like just to see what's back there, because there's always one or two that you're like, holy crud, I get that. Like, and it totally makes up for the few dollars that you spend to go VIP. It only makes sense.
I agree. Well, I don't want this to end. And there are people who are watching who don't want this to end, but you know what? We're running a little short here on time. So let's let's freeze that $1 million smile of yours and say sayonara for right now. Watch the couple of things, do the VIP upgrade, and watch some more videos. Have a good time. Got lots of great guests on the Achieve Your Dream Summit. So for now, thank you, Erik. Thank you all for watching, and have a great rest of the day.